Hi again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Happy Sunday, I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we're back, we are building in Copperdale, which is Copperdale? Is that even the name of the world? Copperdale, Right, I'm looking this up while I'm talking. How have I forgotten the name of the new world that shipped with the Sims high school years? Let me see. Copperberg. Copperberg is an alcoholic beverage, not Copperdale. Okay, well I'm off to a really good start. How are you all doing? I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far. Yeah, we're building in Copperdale, not Copperberg. We're building in Copperdale. I've clearly got alcohol on the brain. Shock horror. We're building a family home for what I envisioned as a family with 3 teenagers, basically. Any gender, any like whatever, and so this is what I came up with this house. Now you will have to excuse the toing and froing with the exterior structure and color scheme because I was having a really hard time with this. Initially I was thinking like soft beige, light wood with pops of red, and then I'm like, why does that disgust me? And then I changed it entirely to like a dark blue color scheme with more pops of white, which is like what I usually go for. So yeah, I thought I'd include pretty much the entire process, especially with the exterior. The interior came very easily to me once I figured out what I wanted to do, but the exterior was a bit of a struggle, so you can see here. Now this is the lot that originally had a rental house on it, I believe. I felt so bad bulldozing that beautiful house. I don't know who built it, but it was amazing and I felt really bad bulldozing it, but I really like this lot. I like the fact that it looked out onto like the fairground with the Ferris wheel and things. I just really liked it, so I decided to build a family house here instead. I'm still laughing at Copperberg. Sorry. Copperberg. Oh well, anyway, so yeah, you'll see me here just going through a few different color schemes. I do already like how this looks here. Like it does look really nice. It just, I don't know, once I started to put everything together, it just kind of lost it for me. And so I spent a few days on this house actually on and off, and I was just thinking, I'm just not enjoying this. So I changed the color scheme entirely, and although, as I'm saying, like I'm looking at this now, like looking back, and I'm thinking, why didn't I keep this original color scheme? Because it's so soft and pretty, but I couldn't make it work for whatever reason. You know, we all have those days and times, I suppose. This was just one of those days for me. It also feels like it's been so long since I've actually done a voiceover and or a video for the channel. Realistically, it's only been a week and it just feels like it's been so much longer because I did 2 builds pretty much back to back, my high school on the 64x64 lot. I will pin that up in the right hand corner for you now. That was amazing. I really enjoyed that more than I thought I was going to actually. The high school initially, I was like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do this. And then when I started doing it, I had the best time. Then I did like a smaller home in Copperdale. I will link that up in the top right hand corner for you now as well. That was on a 20x15 lot, and I just felt I needed a few days just to rest, recharge, so that I could come back with some new fresh content and a new house. I knew that I wanted to build in this new world because it's gorgeous. I spoke about this in my previous speed build, just how much I love the style and feel of this world. Although the lighting and the shadows are a little bit harsh, a little bit odd, I'm hoping that that is addressed very shortly by the Sims team. I don't think that's gone unnoticed by me or other members of the community. So I really hope that gets addressed very shortly. But yes, I'm overall I'm very happy with this particular build. Although it took me a while to get there, we got there. We absolutely got there. So I don't know if I've mentioned this. I don't think I have. This house is 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, as I mentioned previously. I had in mind that it was the parents and then 3 teenagers. So if you are looking for a challenge, then this absolutely would fit the bill. Each teenager has their own sort of interests and hobbies, and that is replicated within each of their rooms. But we will talk a little bit more about that when we get onto the rooms themselves. Still working on the exterior structure. I'm exhausting even myself at this point, because I know that this isn't how it looks, obviously at the start of the video and on the thumbnail if you've clicked this. We do very shortly change it up. I was initially, for some reason, had in my head like autumnal vibes, but I'm not ready to do them just yet. I'm saving them for between the start of September. Well, from the start of September. I'm not going to sort of put a deadline on it really, but I love doing my autumnal houses. I did it last year on the channel and I will be doing it again this year. Autumn is my favourite time of year, so there's definitely going to be a lot of autumnal Halloweeny content. Then there's going to be a lot of Christmas builds as well. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, for some reason I had in my head that I was like, ooh, autumnal. You can sort of see it here with the red flower boxes and then the warm peachy brown slats on the outside as well. And I was thinking in my head at this point, oh, this looks really nice. And then I was looking at it and I'm thinking, no, I don't like it. It's just not. And I loved, as I was saying before, I loved the structure of the house, but not the colour scheme. And I knew that I could just change the colour scheme. That wasn't a problem. And I don't normally struggle as much as I did with this particular house, but I have done in the past. I'm going to be honest, I have done in the past, but it seems like for the past few houses that I've done, I haven't struggled as much as this. So it was unfamiliar territory, to be honest, because I was thinking, oh, well, I've kind of nailed this, and I have not. So it's all right. Again, I just thought I'd put the process in here because, as you can see, it doesn't come very easily to me all the time, nor probably does it to other builders either. So it's good to include the entire sort of start to finish process, because then you can sort of see how my mind works as I'm doing it. This is the landscaping, sticking with like the green with the pops of white. This is pretty much my go-to. I'm just looking at some of my very recent builds. This is my go-to landscaping at the moment. Green with pops of white. I don't know what else to say about it. It's nothing groundbreaking, but I think it works really well with most color schemes. And unless I'm going super neutral with the color scheme for the house itself, I will not introduce colors with the flowers, because I think you can just do too much with it. You know, I feel like there's some people that can do it and pull it off really well. I am unfortunately not one of those people. I wish I was. I feel like my building style has changed so much. Even in the last year, I was having a look at some of the builds that I was doing this time last year, and I'm thinking, my build style and color scheme and color schemes and everything has just changed so much. And it'll be really interesting to see where I am in another year, and then another year. It'll just be fascinating to me. Anyway, went off on a ramble as per usual, but you'll just see me playing around with some more landscaping here. I just felt like something was missing, and I'm looking back on this now, and I actually don't mind the browny peachy slats with the pops of red on the flower boxes, but there's a reason I came away from that. So maybe I can try this on a different house. It's just this house wasn't giving off that vibe for me. If you want to change it back, please feel free. You are, of course, free to change whatever you need to change on any of my builds, but if you prefer the other colour scheme like this one here, then you are free to change it back. I prefer I think we went with dark blue paneling from the Spa Day pack, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what we did, and I just felt it looked a bit better. Then this was really funny. So I actually came back to this house. This is me coming back to this house a couple of days later, and all the terrain pit's gone. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I have to re-put it back in, and I'm thinking, oh, this isn't funny. I cannot believe this glitch has not yet been fixed, because I know I'm not alone here in saying that this is probably one of the most annoying, for builders, one of the most annoying glitches to ever exist. If I'm spending time putting down terrain paint, I'm not doing it again. Obviously I had to on this occasion. Ideally, don't want to do it. I know after this, what am I doing here? I'm changing the colour of the flower boxes, and then what else am I doing? You can just see the whole thing was just an entire process, and it was exhausting to do. It's exhausting to look back on, but I'm glad I showed you, because I think it just shows the whole development of the actual house itself and the thought processes that again, I've already said this, but like the thought processes that I go through And yeah, I just think this here, it just pops so much more. It's more bold. It kind of fits in with the world a bit better as well, because Copperdale, in my opinion, is quite sort of like rustic and suburban, and in my opinion, like please correct me if I'm wrong, like stereotypical American suburban with a hint of rustic. I don't know how accurate that is. They're the vibes that I get from this world, and I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. I think this world has kind of taken first place for me in front of, I'm gonna say it was Brindleton Bay and then Henford-on-Bagley. But now I think it's definitely Copperdale first. There's just something about this town that there's something that I'm drawn to with it. Anyway, this is the inside of the house. The floor plan came so easily to me on the ground floor. On the upper floor, you'll see me having a little bit of a struggle just because the upper floor is slightly, well, it's a weird shape. Let's just put it in black and white. It's a very strange shape. So as much as it looks great on the outside for floor plan, that was a bit of a mouthful. For floor plans on the interior, it doesn't really work all that well, but I think I made the best of it, and this is what we ended up coming up with. So we got there in the end. As I said, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. One of the bedrooms is a garage conversion just outside. That I had in mind for a teen who is really into music production and playing instruments. So I'm really looking forward to showing you that. This is the living room, and it's a really nice size. It's very simple. The colour scheme is neutral. It's pops of contemporary modern with more traditional furniture as well. So I think in my head, the family that lives here, they have quite a lot of money. The parents have good jobs. The teenagers, the 3 teens, are totally different people with totally different interests and hobbies, but they have quite a lot of money, and they're not necessarily the best at interior design or putting together rooms. They sort of mix and match different styles and different color schemes, and I just really wanted, I didn't want it to be too matchy. I didn't want it to be too picturesque. I definitely wanted to have that lived in feel, and I think we got there with this. It's very different from the interior of my previous family home that I built in Copperdale, but I think this one is definitely higher end, and that's definitely what I was going for with this one. So I think it works really well. I think the living room is probably my favorite room of the house. I love the garage conversion though as well. So it's a very close tie between those 2 rooms. But this room, it took me a little while to sort of get into the groove with this, because this room set the tone for the rest of the house. This room was going to be my map, I suppose you could say, to follow as to how I wanted the rest of the house to look. I have in the past started with the kitchen, but I think in doing that, I'm restricting myself quite a lot because my kitchens aren't necessarily the best. They're not very diverse. I tend to go for the same like cabinets, the same few sets of cabinets. So I thought, well, if I start with the living room, then I'm sort of setting that precedence for the rest of the house. And so it just made more sense. I've been doing that for the past couple of builds, and it just made more sense. So yes, I really like this room. I can imagine it would look really nice at Christmas time with a Christmas tree and some really pretty fairy lights, and the Sims are just here opening presents together. I just think it's kind of like the ideal family home, but it's a little bit chaotic because there is three teenagers living here. You know, that is a little bit of a handful, let's be honest. I could not imagine being a parent to 3 teenagers. Like, I just couldn't imagine it. Like, fair play to people that do it, because I think I would have a nervous breakdown. Anyway, this is the dining room. It was really important for me to have a separate dining room in this house as well, because there are up to 5 Sims that live here. And I also feel like this is the house where all the kids come to hang out after school, you know, like the teenagers and all their friends. They come round, they just stand in the kitchen and just help themselves to snacks from the fridge, and then they go practice band in the external garage. They shoot hoops in the back garden. Like, this is just where all the teenagers, where all the cool people come to hang out after school. That was kind of the vibe I was going for with this house. It would be my personal nightmare, but I don't think the mum and dad mind for this particular house. That's kind of what I had in mind. But the dining room, I actually really like this. I don't normally enjoy doing dining rooms. I feel like I never know what to do with the space. But with this one, it came really easily to me, which is quite refreshing to sort of say. But it's yeah, it was really nice. It was nice to sort of put it together, and it come together really easily. I knew starting with the living room was a good idea. As I said, it just sets the tone for the rest of the house, and I think it definitely helped me with the colour schemes and with the general theme of the rest of the house as well. So as you can see, we're just cluttering up this lovely bookshelf. I cannot remember which pack this is from, but it worked so well in this space. Initially I was thinking of putting something a little bit more traditional there, and then I thought, no, actually this works really well. In this open space here, as you can see, there are open archways on either end. So this is more like a hallway, but it's a very big one. So I decided to put a desk with a computer here. This is like the family computer. Maybe mum and dad work here from home. I don't know what, I didn't really go into too much detail with jobs for the parents. I would say the house definitely revolved more around the teenagers than the parents themselves. So I didn't really think about what jobs the parents might have. But I did think that a family computer in this space would work really well. And I did just put a basketball hoop outside, as I just referred to just a little bit earlier. And I just think it's a really nice idea for the teens. They can go and shoot hoops in the back garden with their friends and hang out. I just thought it was a really nice idea. But I tried to utilise this space as best I could. I didn't really know what to put where, but I got there in the end. It's quite a big space to sort of fill. I also put a chess table here. I never, ever, or it's very rare, excuse me, that I include chess tables in my builds. However, I felt it was quite important with this particular build for some reason. I also probably thought it was a good idea because there seemed to be like a void space, and I just thought, let's just put that there. Now this is the downstairs bathroom. Again, very important for me to include this because, you know, there are 5 Sims in this house, and I think the more bathrooms, the merrier. So there are 3 bathrooms altogether in this house. And I just thought it was a good idea to include a shower down here as well. So if the teens are rushing on a morning and need to grab a quick shower before they go to school, then I thought that worked really well. Now this is the kitchen. And I'm not sure that I like these cabinets with this flooring. I'm just being completely honest. And I think it kind of works. I think it's a little bit quirky, but I think it kind of pulls off. It doesn't necessarily work, but it kind of works. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I was getting kind of sick of using the same counters in every single house that I've been doing lately, and I thought, you know what, it's been a while since I've used some from the Dream Home Decorator pack, so why not try and use them in this house? I think they work okay. I'm just not entirely convinced that they necessarily go with the flooring that is running throughout the entire house. I used this flooring in the last build. I believe this flooring came with a recent base game update. I love it so much. And I also like the contrast between this sort of rugged, rustic, dark brown floor with like the pure white walls. I love that so much. I just think it works really well. I think the family that lives here, they've potentially just left the floorboards. And then I said floorboards. Floorboards as they are. Potentially they ripped up carpets and then found this flooring underneath, and they just decided to keep it because they really liked how it looked. That's at least my sort of storyline with this particular house. But you will see me here, I'm just cluttering things up. I do this really nice big island in the middle of the kitchen. As I was explaining before, this is where all the teens hang out after school with all, the teens bring back their friends and they help themselves to whatever's in the fridge. Mum and dad probably cook extra plates of meals because they know full well that their house is probably going to have more than their 3 kids in it. And so that was kind of the vibe I was giving off here. There's a couple of bar stools as well. So maybe they come and hang out here before they head on out to the fairground or wherever. I just had in my head that this is like the hotspot for activity for teens within the town, and I thought that was a really nice idea. I also had in my head that this family had a dog, which I thought was a really nice idea. I don't include this enough in my builds, and I do talk about this all the time because I have 2 dogs myself, and it's very unusual. It's really weird that I don't ever think, oh, this family could have a dog, or this family could have a cat, or this family could have a couple of dogs. Like, I just don't ever think about that for some reason, which is really weird. But yes, I just thought that was worth mentioning. So if your family does not have a dog, then they might want to adopt one, or just delete the bowl and the mat. It's no big deal. So I also changed out this really nice back door as well for the one from Seasons, and I also include a thermostat from Seasons, which is something that I don't include in a lot of my builds as well. And so your Sims can adjust the temperature in the house, which I thought was a really nice idea. Okay, this is my one of my favorite rooms in the house. This is the garage conversion. When the family moved in, they realized that the house just wasn't big enough, and so they decided to convert the external garage, and they decided to give it to their teen who loves music. They enjoy music production, they play the keyboard, they play the guitar, they do remixes, they do all sorts of stuff, and they decided, right, you go out in the garage, you make as much noise as you want, we can't hear you, crack on. Like, that's where you're going to be. So I definitely went to town with this. And again, I think this teen has a lot of friends. They come and hang out here because they've got their own space. I was initially thinking that I was going to give them like a little kitchenette. And then I thought, no, it's not the vibe that I want to go for with this house. I definitely want it to be more organic than that. So I just ended up cluttering up this room within an inch of its life, and I enjoyed every single second of it. So I really hope you enjoy this room because, as I was saying, apart from the living room, this is definitely my favorite bedroom of the build. I'll have to see if you guys agree. You might prefer the other ones or the other bedrooms upstairs. Sorry, but yeah, this is definitely my personal favorite. So I do add a couple of windows here as well because it was looking a little bit claustrophobic. Maybe the family had these windows put in to make it more of a room, because I know a lot of garage conversions don't include windows. You have to pay extra for that, but I think the family, as I said, that they're not short of money, they're not short of cash, so they were like, yeah, we'll put some windows in for you, that's absolutely fine. I don't know if the teens can sneak out of this window. I didn't actually check any of them, but this, if you don't know, these are the windows that came with the high school years pack, and they are interactable with teens, so teens can sneak out of the house using these windows. I don't know if they're functional because of the flower boxes outside. If you want to test it, please do. If they're not functional, just remove the flower boxes and I think they would be fine. Normally you would need a trellis, but this is on the ground floor, so I think they would work just fine. Anyway, so you can see I'm just cluttering up and just making it really just very teenagery. That's the only really way that I can describe it, and I would have loved to have had a space like this when I was growing up. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed my bedrooms when I was growing up, but like this is cool. This is really cool. I think a lot of teenagers would love to have a space like this, especially if they're into music. Maybe they have a band as well, and like, I know that you can't do it, but like, there's a garage door on the front. Maybe they open up the garage door and then like jam together so the entire neighborhood can hear them. Anyway, this is the master bedroom. I did do the ensuite and the main bathroom upstairs off camera, just because they're pretty much replicas of the bathroom on the ground floor, and I didn't really feel the need to include that in the footage. So the master bedroom is very big. It's a very odd shape. But I was making the best of an interesting situation, I suppose you could say, because I didn't really think when I was doing the exterior, like, oh, what's this gonna look like on the inside? Which is a mistake, don't get me wrong, but yes, I think it works. I really like the colour scheme here as well, actually. It's very calming. It's very in keeping with the rest of the house, apart from the teens' rooms. The teenagers, I would say, definitely keep themselves to themselves. They keep themselves in their own spaces generally. When mum and dad are at work, I think they have their friends round and they maybe hang out in the living room or in the kitchen or whatever. But I think generally speaking, they kind of keep themselves to themselves in their own rooms, and I wanted to give them that opportunity. So each of the teen rooms has everything they could possibly need. But yeah, the master bedroom, it's definitely, I wanted it to be a calming place for the parents, because as I was saying earlier, 3 teenagers, that's full on. So it was very important for me for the parents to have their own space. so they can come up here and just relax, watch some TV, watch a film together, light a candle, and just enjoy each other's company. that was really important to me, so that's what I did there. This is the second teen room I had in my head. I didn't have again, not a particular gender, but the teen that sort of occupates this room, they're a little bit hippie, a little bit boho-y, and they kind of dabble in a little bit of casual gaming, you know, like maybe like Stardew Valley and stuff like that. So they do have a little gaming setup in the corner as well. They maybe have a part-time job that allowed them to pay for that, but it's definitely a very different vibe to the bedroom that's in the garage conversion, and I wanted to make it really apparent that each teen they were just totally different from one another. Again, if you've got triplets and they've got pretty much similar or identical hobbies, then please feel free to adjust them as and how you need. But I just thought it was a really nice idea to sort of include different personalities. So this is the computer that I was talking about. It's like pink and turquoise. It's really cute. I love the colour scheme of this particular PC set. There's a bookcase in here as well. There's a lot of clutter on the walls. It's just, I love doing teen rooms. I can't even tell you how much fun I have. I know I did a video, teen bedroom ideas, before the pack came out, and I would love to do the same thing again now that we have the pack, because we have so much, like, particularly wall clutter, like posters and like neon lights and things like that. I would love to recreate that video using the items that we now have. Please let me know if that would be a video you would be interested in. I would be more than happy to put something like that together. Maybe we could just use base game and then high school years. Anyway, this is the final room and the final teen room. This teen is a little bit more edgy, a little bit more grungy. I maybe won't go as far to say as like gothic, but they definitely have a darker side, and so that's sort of replicated within the decor of the bedroom, and I really enjoyed doing this. I don't normally like doing dark rooms, but this was really fun, and I really like how it turned out. But yes, I really like this. I think this house has so much personality, and I enjoyed every single second of it, so I really hope you all, or some of you, or those that choose to download it, have some sort of use for this. But I will wrap up here because this is the final room. You can grab this house from the gallery right now, my Origin Ideas RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box below. You can get them for free from SimFileShare. But thank you so much once again to you all for joining me here today. You all take care, and I will see you next time I post a video. Bye!